Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well. Have a good start of 2026. I had an old canvas and I grounded with, as you see, with Raw Umber and turpentine. I'm just trying to cover the whole palette, the whole canvas, wiping off some of the paint, the fake paint, so I can get a nice warm earthy color for painting this portrait. You can see my reference and my palette. I usually use this palette without alizarin crimson. I start with a very simple sketch, big straight lines, and I only use Raw Umber for the sketch, trying to blocking the big shapes. So in the beginning it might seem a little bit wrong, and it is. The shapes are bigger, the likeness isn't there, the values isn't there. So but I need to have patience in this stage. It's also called ugly stage. I'm just trying to see the big dark shape and big light shape, and my angles of the contour lines getting wrong, and also the lines on the chin. So I'm trying just to do a very fast sketch to put something on the canvas. I add cadmium red, cobalt blue, cad yellow, and titanium white. So this is almost a full whole palette actually. Just mixing these three together to get somehow the value and the color right in the hair, and the shadow shape on the under the nose. I remember when I started painting, so I had problem with staying in this stage for longer time. Still have that problem actually. Sometimes I'm going too fast to the other stuff in the painting, like doing the midtones and painting the midtones and some highlights. So I use the canvas as a palette, so you can see my mixings. I also mix with the brush I use. I recommend using your mixing on a palette. It's much better, but in this case, in this video, I just want to show because some people asked me, can you show your palette? I'm trying to build a palette that I can show the full palette, just side by side the painting, and more space. This is just too little space for mixing my colors actually. So the general light value, the color in this stage doesn't matter so much for to match what we see in the reference. Use a smaller brush for the smaller shapes, upper lips, and the shadow under lips. There. Stay in this stage and focus on the drawing and the values. It's really crucial, and help you or help me to my angles, my drawing, and my values getting more and more correct. And if something is wrong in the stage, you can easily move things around by just another value to put and push the other value around. If you have just started painting portraits, so a good exercise would be just when you have a reference, so you start with the pencil drawing a portrait of the reference, and after that you do a value study and a color study. So at least three studies before you start your painting. That helps you actually a lot when you start to paint the actual one. Because now when we paint Alla Prima, we want to nail everything in one session, and it's really hard to get everything right. The correct drawing, it's, in my opinion, it's like maybe 75 or 80% of the portrait actually, and then the values, then colors. But what I see so many people who just started or painted for a while, they usually focus on the colors and have too many colors on their palette. It's just more than the full palette. I always recommend just use limited palette or Zorn palette under Zorn, Swedish painter. Last week actually I was in his close to his city, Andersson's city, called Mora. I was there for skiing for a few days. My goal is one day go there and record some of the if I'm allowed, record his inside his museum and see his paintings. He's big inspirational for many portrait painters. Like if I think about the other artists, he's like Sargent. The style is probably pretty close. They those two were really good. I believe also they lived at the same time. I don't remember which year, but both are. I have used their paintings as reference. Um, in Gothenburg, in Sweden, in the National Museum, they have a few paintings actually of Anders Zorn. They are really nice to see them from close. I hope I one day I also go there again and record um, the paintings, and you guys can see them. So when you don't have access to live model art school, I believe one of the best thing you can do to improve your your painting skills, to use another painting, not a photo. Like I did, I used Sargent and Anderson or Velasquez and copied. I copied a lot before I started painting from a live model or reference, and I also hired sometimes models to paint from live. But copying, it's really good because you can already see what happened, how he did, and you can see the drawing, you can see the values, you can see the color, brush strokes. It's almost everything is there. So do a lot of master copies. I will record some of my master copies. I saved almost all of them. It's nice to have them and sometimes look back at the process. Because like I said before in one or two videos, I didn't start painting as a kid. I actually didn't paint the first maybe 30 years of my life anything with oil, anything. Maybe I have done some drawings with pencil or charcoal or colored pencils, but never done anything in oil. That one day I just got interested in oil painting, and I searched for school and found Florence Academy of Art. People recommended, and I started there to learn how to paint this style. And I'm still in the progress. I'm still learning. It's not easy thing every day. It is challenging to. For me, right now, it's more about what to paint. The objects. I have big canvases now waiting for I'm gonna do a few big paintings and trying to have a group exhibition with some other artists. It would be nice, but I need to paint some bigger paintings. But for that matter, I miss the objects. I don't know what to paint sometimes. I have saved so many portraits like this from internet, from people I know, but I want to paint something interesting, big and interesting. So last year I had 3 paintings in a group exhibition in the south of Sweden, called Simrishamn. Very cool place, cool museum. It was over 100 painters who exhibit. And for a few years ago, I had, like 3 years ago, I believe, I had one painting in Mayam. I sent it to Mayam Museum in Barcelona. But there, that museum is a really hard competition. The best artists, painters of the world actually exhibit there, and it's really hard to get a foot in the exhibition. I had one painting of a lady laying down. I believe I have it in my Instagram page. I will post it in the YouTube too one day. And I had one portrait in Denmark. They have also portrait.org for I believe when they started it was just for the Scandinavian country, but now I believe it's for all Europe, if I'm not mistaken. And also it's really nice exhibition. So you can see my mixings, wrong, right, doesn't matter so much. I'm just trying to do something that the drawing values and the colors somehow right. Keep it simple. That's the best word. I always thinking about simplifying things, because when sometimes you look at the reference and just you get confused. How can I paint this? And if you look at the whole pictures, so you need to just use straight lines for the contour lines and see the big shapes. That's helped a lot to simplifying. Like this one, I simplified in 3 shapes or 2. If you count the negative shapes, the shapes around the head, the portrait, it's 1 shape, negative shapes, and the dark hair, the whole is a big shape, big dark shape, and the face is the light shape. So simplifying like this helps a lot to just easier to draw or paint, and from there you breaking down all these big shapes to smaller shapes, and you do that with the values also. For the face, for example, you have 1 big light shape. It's just even everywhere, no variation at all. And like now I'm breaking down this light shape to smaller and a lot of variation. But one important thing is when you do that, you shouldn't break it down too much, like too dark or too light. it still needs to be united and close together. All values needs to be close together. As in the dark shape, I can't use just two big contrast. Contrast. They need to be very close to each other. For that purpose, if you look at the dark shape, so until to the highlight, you need 4 or 5 values, and to get the right values or right roundness or form, you need to use values, and by that think as plans. Plan 1 like the darkest, plan 2 midtone, dark midtone, plan 3 middle midtone, plan 4 light shape, and plan 5 it's the highlight. It's like a round cup. If you put it in this, like in the sun, and you get the shadow shape behind, and you can, by just looking at it, you can see the roundness. But if you want to paint that cup, you need to think as plans, from darkest to the lightest. Maybe for the cup you need maybe only 3 or 4 values. I'm using the left mix over there for the shape of the shoulders. It's really crucial to use a good reference. This is I'm using, it's really good. You can see the shapes very clear. Everything is there. It's nice gesture. The color is really nice. Now I'm using alizarin crimson to get a deeper and darker value and color in the hair. I've seen some people, to lighten up something in the portrait, they use white, you know, and it's getting a little bit strange. Sometimes you need to darken down around the light shape to your light shape become lighter. Like now, if I'm using this dark, you can see everything is getting a little bit lighter. So I don't need to go lighter into my light shape. And when you sketching with oil, don't go the darkest dark in the beginning. Use it for the high contrast in the end, like now. I had 1 hour and 10 minutes I spent on this painting. It's small. I usually need between 2 and 3 hours to paint a little bit bigger, and in little bit bigger than this one. trying to mix a highlight in the for the eyes. The highlight in the eyes is usually pretty small, and I've seen some people doing it too bright, too whitey, and too big. If you are total new beginners and want to start paint with oil portraits, so I recommend you start with pencil drawings. Do a lot of master copies. When you find a reference that is good, something from Sargent or Bogoro or anyone, do at least 10 of them, and do it with pencil and charcoal, and then start with only black and white color to learn the drawing, to exercise the drawing and learn the values first, and then add raw umber, and after that you can add yellow and red. So keep it really simple. You need to learn how to handle one or two mediums before you go to the full palette. Now I'm adding just a little bit smaller shapes and details around the nose, eyes, and lips. There should be a lot of attention to the, any portraits. There are the focal and focus points of the whole portrait actually. So the big shapes is actually just a mass of one or two values. Like the hair, you see there is almost no details, just the big shapes just hanging there. Cleaning my palette. Just painting a little bit here, a little bit details. During the process, it's really important to have fun. It's the whole point, isn't? I'm trying to very fast using my left mix to paint the shirt. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this process, and let me know what you want to see more in 2026. Pencil drawing, charcoal drawing, oil paintings. Anyone who is also in this journey like me and struggling with oil paint and portraits. Happy painting, take care, and see you in the next one. And thank you for all support. I really appreciate it. Take care.